Hey guys, and welcome to the first of our NBA 2K20 rebuilds. First of all, I'm sorry for the hiatus. I've been sick, I've been very busy, but we are back on NBA 2K20. And the first team that I automatically wanted to rebuild was no question the New Orleans Pelicans. This team is easily one of the most intriguing in the entire league, be it their best players probably either Zion or Drew Holiday. So they're not really a playoff contender, at least not what we think of this team right now. But they're still going to be one of the most watched teams in the NBA, and that's clearly just because of Zion. I mean, 19 years old, 6'7", 285 with his freakish athleticism and physical just ability overall. And along with Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, this team is a walking meme. It really is. But this would be the perfect team for me to start our rebuild series with. I'm going to be going through all 30 NBA teams in the coming months, and we're going to see how we can do in 3 seasons. Now, barring catastrophic injury or my footage corrupting or whatever, we're going to be doing 3 seasons with each team. I'm going to be using 2K's engine against it, so any players that they make free agents that would never be free agents in real life, I'm still going to go after because I want to build the best team in those 3 years. So let's take a look at this team, actually. The starting lineup is really interesting. Lonzo, Drew Holiday, Brandon Ingram, Zion, and Derek Favors. But the bench is where this team gets very interesting. JJ Redick, Josh Hart, the rookie Jackson Hayes, Kenrich Williams, the rookie Nickeil Alexander-Walker, even a player like Jahlil Okafor, who's a solid player, is coming off the bench. So we redo it, and that means we'll have JJ Redick, Okafor, Hart, E'Twaun Moore, and Jackson Hayes coming off the bench, which means we still have Nickeil Alexander-Walker to deal with, and that means that I am going to assign him to the Pelicans G League. He's a really good young player. I want to see what his potential is, because I don't think I've ever seen it. He's got to be potential, so we'll have to see how he does. He's an overall, all-around good player. But clearly, we are building around Zion, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball. The salary cap table we have in the next couple years, we have Drew Holiday on a major contract. Next year, we'll have $42 million in cap space, so we'll be able to sign a lot of good players with that. But for right now, Drew Holiday is easily the biggest contract we have. And if we look at the depth, we really have an abundance of shooting guards. I mean, Drew Holiday, JJ, Josh Hart, even Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So I want to switch out and probably trade Drew Holiday, probably for either a backup point guard and a backup small forward and a draft pick. So we're going to use the trade finder, see what we can get for Drew Holiday. He's on a major contract, so I'm not sure what we'll be able to get for him, but I'm hoping that we can get some decent bench pieces. There's a point guard and a small forward. Dragic and Justice Winslow. Dragic on a decent contract. He's got 1 year left, and Justice Winslow has multiple years left. Malik Monk and Terry Rozier, Julius Randle, Bobby Portis, Aaron Gordon. There are some definite good options here. Andrew Wiggins as well. We could pick up Bradley Beal, but we'd also have to pick up Jan Mahimi. This is possibly a deal we could do. We would upgrade the shooting guard position. Bradley Beal's younger. He's on pretty much the exact same contract, except we wouldn't have to deal with Drew Holidays in the 3rd year, but we would give up JJ Redick. But I'm really looking at this one right here. Goran Dragic and Justice Winslow. I'm thinking we'll just move JJ Redick into the starting spot and move Josh Hart to the backup role. So I think we're going to do this. Let me see, actually, if I can wield a 2020. Okay, so they can't trade any of their picks, but is it possible for me to get a better young player? Like possibly I can maybe try for Dion Waiters or Tyler Hero. I honestly like this trade. We get a good backup point guard. We get a good backup small forward. So I'm going to go ahead and make this deal. And now we go in, and J.J. Redick has moved into the starting lineup. And we have Goran Dragic, Justice Winslow, Jahlil Okafor, and Josh Hart coming off the bench. Next is we want to deal with Jackson Hayes as well. So on our roster, we have multiple players in the G League. Nikhil Alexander Walker. Jackson Hayes is there, and we got rid of Frank Jackson. So I'm thinking we'll also send Jackson Hayes to the G League, and we will look at picking up a baseline center, which I think is going to be Joakim Noah, or we would have to release somebody. So let's go ahead and release, or let me see if I can trade one of our lower players for a second round pick and possibly get out of one of these contracts and sign a backup center. So no. Okay, you know what? I'll just release Darius Miller. He's not going to impact our cap at all. And then we can go ahead and sign a lower center. I'm thinking let's go ahead and just sign Joakim Noah for 1 year at the minimum. And there we go. So now, rebuild it one last time. We have Joakim Noah as our 11th man. And that means we can put Alexander Walker and Jackson Hayes in the G League. So I'm liking how this team is looking so far. I just want to make sure we have everything good. Alvin Gentry is our coach, which is a little scary to me. We'll put Zion, and then we'll do Brandon Ingram, and then we'll do J.J. Redick. We're going to play through our star. We're going to shoot at will, and we're going to crash the offensive glass, limit perimeter shots, play physical defense. And we do want to run in transitions. This is a fast-paced. They're going to shoot a lot, but they're going to get good shots. So it's going to be very interesting. Let's go ahead and see how we do in season number 1. So I'll bring you guys back. Hopefully, we have secured a playoff spot. So guys, 42-40. We had a couple injuries, I believe. So we'll have to see. But Giannis, your MVP. Ja, your Rookie of the Year. D'Lo, 6th Man of the Year. Kawhi, DPOY. Terry Rozier, Most Improved. And Mike D'Antoni, your Coach of the Year. Don't know if we're going to see any Pelicans, but the injuries this season are unlike anything I have seen in a while. Zion is on the all-rookie first team. We'll take a look at his stats in a moment. But we did not make the play. Wait a minute, we did. How did we make the playoffs at 42-40? That is unbelievable to me. In the West, wow. A lot of good teams. Dallas all the way down here at 23 and 59 with these two. Wow. Houston, number 1 seed, 66-16. And then the 76ers at 57-25. Let's take a look at the playoff standings. Pretty much all your normal candidates in the playoffs this season. Let's take a look at the season stats. The league leaders, Steph, right up there. Giannis, of course, went nuts. And then our own player stats. Zion with 22, 9, and 3 with a block and a half and a steal and a half per game. Really good. The only thing was the 3-point percentage. Brandon Ingram was 17 and 9. J.J. Redick did well. Dragic did well. Where is Lonzo Ball? 8 and 9 on 37%. That's horrible. The heck. Either way. I do know that we had some injuries to our players. I believe Lonzo was injured for multiple parts of the season. So it'll be interesting to see how we do in these playoffs. We're going up against the Lakers. So this is immediately going to be a really, really fun playoff series. But we shall see. Oh, they have Boban now? But either way, let's see how we do. Why not? So the Lakers take game 1. The Lakers take game 2. Lakers take game 3. And we're out. I'm not surprised. I mean, this was the first season. I expected us to do well. I'm glad we made the playoffs, but I'm not surprised we got knocked out so easily. So looking at the rest of the playoff series, Chicago knocked out Milwaukee in the conference finals. It's Houston Lakers and Toronto and Chicago. Very surprising. Chicago and LA in the finals. And what do you know? The Lakers sweep the Bulls in the NBA Finals. This team, with Lauri Markkanen and Zach LaVine, making the NBA Finals. But this is where things get interesting. We're going into our first off season. We have a ton of players leaving their contracts, a ton of players with team options. So we have a lot of things to adjust. Everything is rejected, and we can go through the draft lottery and see who wins. The Cavs get the number 1 pick, so they'll be getting probably some weird Euro guy that this draft class has. But then the Thunder may be getting LaMelo or RJ Hampton. The Pelicans, I'm not seeing them anywhere. We're number 20. Okay, number 20. I'm not sure what that'll exactly get us. Alvin Gentry, you did good, but you're honestly not the best option we can get. Luke Wallace. See, there are a bunch of good head coaches out there. So I think we're going to relieve Alvin Gentry. And we're not going to go after Mike Stauffer, but I think we're going to go after Logan Schmidt as our head coach. We'll give him that. I also want to fire our assistant coach and replace him with somebody. And we can replace him with the very classic Otis Newman. And we get both of them. So new coaching staff, very nice. And let's take a look at what the scouting says we will be doing. Yes, here's the weird Euro stash guy that should not be the number 1 pick. But Anthony Edwards going to the Thunder, LaMelo going to the Knicks. Who do they have at number 20? So at number 20, they had Tyrese Maxey, Khalil Whitney. Any other players? Matthew Hurt and Trey Jones I recognize. Cassius Winston from Michigan State, who's a multi-year point guard. So there are a lot of good players still available. Josh Green still available. Charles Bassey is a good player. Precious Achiuwa is a good player. Nick Richards. Jordan Moore I've had before. Pretty good draft class. So we should be able to get a backup player in the draft, no problem. Let's go ahead and get into the draft and see what is available when it comes to the 20th pick. So New Orleans with the 20th pick. Let's first of all see the trade offers we have. We have a shooting guard that's 75 overall, Steven Adams, but they want another pick. 75 overall rookie center, Killian Hayes, but they want another pick. There's some decent options in these trades. Robert Covington and Layman. Okay. Let's see here. Vernon Carey. Ooh, that is very interesting. Yeah, I knew that guy wouldn't be there. Ooh, Vernon Carey still available? I could play him and Zion at the 4 and the 5. I gotta go with Vernon Carey at that pick. And I'm gonna move past the 2nd round pick. Vernon Carey out of Duke. Rookie signing, 76 overall. Not anyone else have noticed, but 76 overall at the 20th pick is fantastic. Team and player options. I'm going to accept Lonzo and Josh Hart. Anthony Davis is a free agent. DeMar DeRozan, Andre Drummond. And then after that, JaVale McGee. But still some high-level free agents out there. I'm not going to extend to Kendrick Williams. I will extend to Brandon Ingram. And here we go into the moratorium. So let's take a look at the cap holds we have. Derek Favors on $25 million. I'll release him. Goran Dragic on $23. Each want more. So that automatically opens up about, let's see here. We now have $30 million in cap room. Pascal Siakam is available. Let's take a look at our roster real quick. So Lonzo, we need a backup point guard. I could trade JJ Redick for a backup point guard. Let me try that. Let me trade JJ Redick and see what point guards are available. Robin Lopez, I'm getting a lot of... Ooh, I could pick up Dante Exum. That would be a solid pickup. DeLon Wright, Karis LeVert, Ty Jerome, and Isaac Bonga. I think I'll pick up DeLon Wright as a backup point guard. So now we have our backup point guard. We have our shooting guard. A small forward would be necessary. Small forward for sure. And then Vernon Carey and Jackson Hayes would compete for minutes. Yeah, so we need to go after a small forward or any wing, really, that we can turn into our small forward. So DeMar is available, Buddy Hield. I'm looking at picking up DeMar. He's a solid player, that's for sure, but we also would still have Brandon Ingram. Do I want to stay off and use his cap room next year? That is what I'm wondering. And I can't see any of the upcoming free agents. So what do we need right now? Brandon Ingram is still on. We're going to decline Kenrich Williams. We're going to keep a cap hold on these two. And then we just need a small forward and a center. So I think we're going to hold off on free agency this year. We're going to hold off, and then we'll move on next year. But I want to see, has Brandon Ingram gone somewhere else? Let's take a look. Ingram. Brandon Ingram looks like he's still available, so let's hope that the cap hold is true and that we can go through the rest of free agency. The Raptors, I'm not matching that. Yeah, I'll get rid of Brandon Ingram. There's no way I was going to match that. And just to hold me over, I'll pick up Bogdanovich for a year at $13 million. And just to have him be our starting small forward. And we can move into player progression, and we'll go after our free agent in next year's free agent class. Player progression, Zion up to an 86, Lonzo up to an 82, Jackson Hayes is 79, Josh Hart is 78, Alexander Walker went up, so a very, very good overall team. Let's move on to our training camps. I'm going to use these untapped potentials on Zion and probably Lonzo, since those are the two that I'm going to be building this team around. So I'm going to finish off this offseason. We're going to go through year 2, and I will bring you guys back for the result of our second season. So at the end of season number 2, Anthony Davis, our MVP, 30, 15, and 3 blocks. LaMelo on the Cavs with an unbelievable stat line, Rookie of the Year. Jabari Parker, and so on. Zion, the most improved player, 27 and 10 on 57% from the field. Very happy with that. From the Pelicans, Zion did make the All-NBA second team, so I'm very happy about that. And no one else, unfortunately, on these teams. But we did go 49 and 33, a significant improvement from last season. Let's take a look at the conference standings real quick. Minnesota and Portland ahead of us. Surprisingly, Golden State still behind us, even with Klay Thompson back and D'Angelo Russell coming off the bench. The Lakers with LeBron, Kuzma, and Anthony Davis. The Denver Nuggets again. It seems that Jokic is injured. The Suns made the playoffs. Notable teams that didn't make it. The Paul George and Kawhi Leonard Clippers. They had a bunch of injuries. And the Utah Jazz with this team, including the Spurs and the Mavericks. In the Eastern Conference, Cleveland back to being the number 1 seed thanks to DeMar DeRozan and LaMelo Ball. Besides that, major teams that did not make the playoffs, Victor Oladipo, Michael Porter Jr., and the Pacers, and Drew Holiday, Jimmy Butler, and the Miami Heat. But either way, we're going up against Golden State, which, as it looks like right now, is not exactly the best matchup we could have asked for in the first round. But let's take a look at our player stats, actually, to see how we did. Of course, Zion absolutely went crazy this season, 27 and 10. Lonzo did improve his shooting, 12, 5, and 10 a game. Nickeil Alexander-Walker had 12. I traded Josh Hart because he had an expiring contract for Matisse Thybulle. He averaged 10. Justin Winslow at 10. Willie Cauley-Stein, Bogdanovich, Pirtle, and so on. I want to look and see at how Vernon Carey is doing. So he's a 77 overall. That's very nice to see. His overall will probably go up. Zion's up to an 89 in his I believe this is his second season. So let's see how we do against Golden State. This team has a 90 overall coming off the bench. So immediately that's a little scary. We take game 1. We take game 2, so we clean up at home. Golden State wins back at Golden State. They tie it up 2-2. They take game 3. And unfortunately, we dropped Golden State in round 1. Let's take a look at where we went wrong. Lonzo has not been shooting well at all. And we have a lot of guards on this team, so I'm thinking that we may move on from Lonzo Ball. I honestly would not be surprised if I make that move in the offseason. But let's simulate the playoffs. Unfortunately, we got bounced. Cleveland with LaMelo is looking to move on. Yes, they do, to the conference finals. And in the finals, it will be Cleveland and Houston, with Houston narrowly escaping the sweep. And the Houston Rockets with James Harden at 31 end up winning the title. Colin Sexton, LaMelo Ball. Let's take a look at his stats this year. His career stats, 21 and 8 in his rookie season. Absolutely unbelievable. So we have a lot of interesting decisions to make. Not that many notable retirements. Let's go ahead and reject all the league meetings. Wow, there are a lot of them approved this season. And we can move on. Let's get the draft lottery. See who gets the number 1 pick. The Knicks and the Thunder are getting back-to-back picks in the top 3. The Knicks also have the 6th pick thanks to Dallas. We get the 19th pick and the 23rd pick along with the 29th pick. So we have 3 first-round draft picks in this draft. We had 19, 23, and 29. I'm thinking let's try and package these together to see what we can get on the trade market. And we can't get anything. So let me try and propose a trade here. We have multiple first round picks. Let me try and move up to the lottery. Maybe 12 or 13 from the Grizzlies. Okay, I'll take that. So we move up to the 13th pick, which means that we're going to be in contention for Jalen Suggs, BJ Boston, Josh Christopher. Maybe if some other players drop like Scotty Barnes or Sharif O'Neal, we could pick them up as well. The staff is very interesting. Everything is pretty good here. I'm going to keep it the same. And we can move on to the NBA draft. And let's sim to our pick and see who is available. I want to see if there are any decent guards available. So Aaron Mayo, I don't want. Josh Christopher is looking like one of the best players that we can get. BJ Boston is still available. Jalen Suggs, excuse me. Let me see what I could get for this first round pick. What can I get in exchange for this pick? I don't want other picks. I want players. I want players that I can actually use. Ugh, not seeing anything. So let's take a look at our team needs. Point guard may be something we take a look at. Shooting guard, we're good. So it's looking like small forward and point guard. So what is available? Small forward and point guard. Josh Christopher could easily move to small forward. Jalen Suggs could easily move to point guard. I'm thinking we take Josh Christopher. Yes, we'll go with Josh Christopher. Sim to the end of the draft, and let's see how we ended up. Man, Cade Cunningham's going to be a fantastic player. So, Josh Christopher, 73 overall. That was a solid pick. We'll keep him. We won't keep Dennis McNeil. And now we have a ton of options. Justice Winslow. I'm thinking I may want to accept his. Let's just accept them. And then we can figure out trades if we want to make any of them. So Kawhi and Paul George decline their options to become free agents. We'll extend that offer to Lonzo. Why not? And we can get into free agency. So we don't have any cap room, but there is a loaded draft class, including Giannis. Rudy Gobert is available. Victor Oladipo, Bradley Beal. So I want to see if we can unload some salary cap. Bogdanovich at 15, Nico Melli at 5. And honestly, let me see what Josh Christopher becomes. He becomes a 74 overall small forward. So I'll move him to small forward. And then we need a point guard. So I think I am going to relieve Lonzo Ball. And that means that in the moratorium, I'll have $22 million. Is there even any way that I could get Giannis on this? Yes, I couldn't get Giannis. What are the point guards? I just want all the point guards that are available. I could get DeJounte Murray, or I could just pick Lonzo back up. Let me see if I can get DeJounte Murray. Use all the cap space I can on him. And Paul George is not getting any offers. He got 5 years from the 76ers. I'll bump this down to 480. Okay, so he's no longer interested. What about shooting guards? What about shooting guards that are available? Lou Williams, Daryl Macon, I don't know who that is. Donovan Mitchell. Dennis Smith Jr. is available. Let's see if we can bring in Dennis Smith. So we are going to get DeJounte Murray, but they do match us. So I'm a little bit concerned now about the point guard situation. Let's still go after Dennis Smith. And let's still go after Jalen Adams. Fred VanVleet is still available. Let's go after Adams. He's a generated player, but he still looks to be pretty good. Let's get Dennis Smith Jr. And okay, so they match Jalen Adams, but we are able to get Dennis Smith. So let's go through, and Dennis Smith Jr. will be our new point guard. And we could go right into player progression and right into season number 3. So let's move past free agency. I want to see who develops. Depending on who develops, I will determine who gets traded and who is staying in New Orleans. Free agency, player progression. Zion up to a 91. Jackson Hayes, an 83. Okay, besides that, Justice Winslow, Willie Cauley-Stein, Vernon Carey, all not going up very much. So right now we'd have Dennis Smith Jr., Nickeil Alexander Walker, Justice Winslow. I think I'm going to trade Justice Winslow. He's the guy that's not doing anything for us. Let me see who I can get on a 1-year deal expiring. Can I get anything? I could get Precious Achiuwa. Wait a minute. I could get Precious Achiuwa. Oh, it's 1 year left on his deal, though. But still, he would still give us something that nobody else is giving us. So we have a backup point guard, backup shooting guard. I think I am going to trade for that 1 year of Precious Achiuwa. And we're going to pick him up. He's 19 years old. So even the fact that we would be able to sign him afterwards. So let's pick up Precious Achiuwa. And we'll move on to training camps and then the start of the season. And so I'll bring you guys back and we'll take a look at the new starting lineup for our final season with New Orleans. So if you have noticed, I've made a couple trades. I got Kevin Knox and Mitchell Robinson. So let me go ahead and show you what I've actually done. I traded Kevin Knox and Trevon Blewett in exchange for Jackson Hayes and Precious. Jackson Hayes, he wasn't really doing much for me, and I really wanted a wing scorer to put alongside Zion. So Kevin Knox was pretty good. Plus Trevon Blewett's on a multi-year contract. And I traded Josh Christopher in a 2025 first-round pick, which won't be worth much, for Mitchell Robinson, who may be on a 1-year deal, but he's still an 87 overall. So we get a really young player who's on we can release him or trade him or re-sign him, whatever. But he's young and he's very, very good. So the new lineup will be Dennis Smith Jr., Nickeil Alexander Walker, Kevin Knox, Zion, Mitchell Robinson with Pirtle, Thibault, DeLon Wright, Derrickson, and Blewett coming off the bench. And we even have players like Vernon Carey that are not even getting minutes right now. So I think I'm just assigning Brendan Curry back to the G League. But this team should be able to compete. We have a 91 in Zion. We have an 87 in Mitchell Robinson. And we have a lot of shooting besides that. So there's no reason why this team should not improve and be a 50-win team this year. So one last season. Hopefully it's a 50-win season. And I'll see you in the playoffs. So we end up 61 and 21. Those moves really made a difference. Anthony Davis, back-to-back MVPs. Let me see who would even be close to this. Damian Lillard, probably. Kyrie. But either way, Cade Cunningham, 20 and 6 with the Knicks. Boogie, 6-man. And there are the rest of them. So close to getting that Coach of the Year. But either way, we did very, very well. I want first team, both Lakers on there. Zion on the All-NBA second team. Very nice to see that. And unfortunately, it does not look like we have anybody on the rookie teams. But that does not matter when we're the second seed in the West. And this playoff picture looks a lot different than it did last year. Let's take a look at the league standings real quick. Phoenix, now the number 1 seed with Lonzo, Devin Book. Oh my God. They have 490 overalls with Theo, Mikhail, Taurean Prince. They have 90 Lonzo, 91 Devin Booker, 99 Giannis, and 94 DeAndre Ayton. Oh my God, that's absolutely unbelievable. They won 19 more games than they did last season. Absolutely unbelievable. That is crazy. But besides that, Memphis in the playoffs now. Golden State drops out of the playoffs with, I believe, an injured Steph Curry. The Clippers, yet again, this time now with Jason Tatum and no Paul George or Kawhi, missed the playoffs. Same thing with the Jazz without Mike Conley. They now have Justice Winslow and Sharif O'Neal. In the East, the Hawks, the number 1 seed, Cole Anthony, Hunter, Collins, Bruno Fernando, Trae Young off the bench with Cameron Reddish, Malik Monk, and Enes Kanter. They have 80s all the way through their 9th man. Milwaukee, number 2 without Giannis, still puts up a really good season. LaMelo and the Cavs do take a step back, but they're still a playoff team. The Wizards with John Wall and Bradley Beal are still relevant. The Brooklyn Nets with KD and Kyrie win 43 games. And in New York, Cade Cunningham and this New York Knicks team now with Jackson Hayes do make the playoffs. The Philadelphia 76ers missed the playoffs. And the Celtics, without Jason Tatum, missed the playoffs. So very interesting stuff. Let's take a look at our player stats really quick. Zion did have a bit of a drop-off, only 25 and 10. But the shooting was so much better. 18 and 5 from Nikhil. 18 and 4 rebounds from Kevin Knox. 15 and 5 for Dennis Smith Jr. And yet again, a very good bench showing even though Mitchell Robinson is currently injured. So we're facing a Portland team that is very, very good. I don't know if we have the point guard in Dennis Smith Jr. to deal with Damian Lillard, but we definitely have the advantage in the front court. So hopefully we'll be able to get past them. So we take game 1. They tie it up 1-1, so we split at home. We take a game at Portland, but they tie it back up at 2. They take game 5. We take game 6. And we win in 7. Wow, that was way too close for comfort. We dominated Zion with 30 and 10. 4 blocks. Very, very nice to see. Any upsets? Atlanta with Trae Young off the bench gets upset. Cleveland with LaMelo. And not surprisingly, Milwaukee gets upset as well. So now we are facing the King, who at this point has regressed at 37 years old to a 90 overall. Anthony Davis still a 97 and Kuzma still an 88. They now have Josh Green out of Arizona with the How they get him with the 30th pick? That's unbelievable. They must have traded for him. Spencer Dinwiddie now on this team, Shaq Harrison. Hopefully we'll be able to beat them. We have more depth and we have better talent, in my opinion. So we go up 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, and we're eliminated. What was the reason? LeBron and the lack of shooting. But either way, the Pelicans really show their potential. Even with all the moves I made, the team in real life, if Lonzo gets better, if their rookies develop, they're going to be a threat for years to come. But guys, either way, thank you for watching. I know I've been a little lacking on the uploads, but I will try to get back on track. Be sure to subscribe for more. Love seeing your guys' comments. Thank you for watching, and until next time.